your beloved, your treasure. Your desired partner might have one or more people in their environment where you think, phew, will this ever end? Whether he is still in a relationship or has started a relationship with someone else. It could also be familial, it could be friendly. This is about another person, people who keep interfering, who have simply come between you. And you ask the question, will this finally come to an end? Is there any hope in sight, or should I perhaps take a completely different direction here? And this question occupies you, and this is the question we are asking today. Dear ones, a very warm love, hello, a wonderful hug to you all. Thank you for a wonderfully loving community that you give me, this togetherness that you have. And thank you for being there, your comments, your warmth. It is so wonderful and means so, so much to me. Thank you for that. You know, my dear ones, we are in the collective. Person cards are gender neutral. This is your counterpart, both male and female. All person cards are both male and female. Please always adapt it for yourself and your situation. And collective love cannot apply to everyone. But I know you. Take what is right for your situation and adapt it for yourself. And I find that absolutely wonderful. So now let's take a look. Will the relationship with the other person end? By the way, I also got this question from a collective, and you know, you can always feel free to ask questions to the collective. Okay, it's already getting interesting. We have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords. There is really an unpleasant clarification process here. So there's also an ice age here, definitely a frosty atmosphere. Maybe your loved one has shown you something a bit impulsive right now. And maybe it's also about a separation between you, this arrogance as well. But it's like where you say, wow, you're not even anymore. Or even now, if you have contact, you can't really reach him anymore. There's nothing, something's not right. And that's what's occupying your mind. This is now showing very clearly here. So as I said, we have a bit of a frosty atmosphere here too. So a clarification process here is definitely something very, very unpleasant. Active. And we are looking closely at what this unpleasantness is, what exactly is happening in the clarification, what's going on there. So then we have. So I have to be completely honest, when the major arcana appears, then it always has a lot of significance because it is very important energy, also in this context. And when we now see that the Emperor is shown, it is also fantastic. In this combination, so fantastic. Yes, in the sense of what's happening here, this clarification process, and we are indeed dealing with the question concerning a separation. With the Emperor, it is also the case that this unrestrained aspect is still being shown. And there is something going on inside the heart person, something internal, which is related to the realization of a dream, but he still covers it up, conceals the whole thing. And there is something happening with him right now. Clarification process. Structure. Because, as I said, he somehow also lost control. This is not control. This is something that he or she no longer has under control. Something that has completely gone off the rails here. And great, also, because we have death. Death also says, here a farewell is taking place. Farewell to a phase, the conclusion, unkun of a phase. Farewell to the old. Here a transition can be seen, a change. With your loved one, this rigidity is also still visible. There is a loss. What exactly it is. We can see here, we are going completely in depth here into the details, but we are completely in a transformation here, in a transition. It was indeed a very brief and unexpected encounter that quickly ended. Very interesting. What is already showing here. Okay. So I would like to provide further clarification on that. Good. So with your loved one, it is clearly visible there is a lot of confusion here. This confusion about the situation. He himself no longer knows how and what. And what we saw earlier, this stability is also lost. We can also see very clearly that this control is lost because I have this confusion, this uncertainty, this nervousness reactions. I find it fantastic what I said earlier because you are also right there with it. But in a positive way, I would like to say more about this right away. I see in him or her that this nervousness is not their energy. What I said right at the beginning, that you might feel something doesn't fit. It's somehow different. Somehow, you might not even recognize him anymore. Which also raises questions for you. What's going on there? Something is definitely not right there anymore. Here I can tell you, definitely yes, we have foreign energies here. We have influences from energies from or several other people. I am here in the collective. I have to approach it a bit differently. It's different in personal readings. There I am completely immersed in this, the person's energy. But you already know that I have activities with your loved one. Nothing works here anymore. No matter what it is. So it's like everything he touches goes wrong. I have him restless, nervous. Things might break or always. What used to work. This luck he always had, that things always worked out, I see it completely lost here. This is an absolute burden, a torment. And there is a loved one in this area where he is already thinking about it. This is in his thoughts because something is not right here. He himself also feels these heavy mishaps. Nothing works. Nothing functions anymore. It's as if he's somehow remote controlled, functioning. Like a puppet, I then have loved ones lying here, and he is in the decision-making process. This is the conclusion of the old here again. Ending the old, concluding is the theme. You know what I said earlier, person. We also have neutral. We have the other person, both male and female. And there, it is complete. The disappointment. And this person, I consciously say has here, because it's been a while now. So I have a separation process here. But there is still something, always this pressure on your loved one, putting them under pressure. It can really be a relationship here, but also familial, friendly. And there was always, for a long time, even if we are now in the family, in the circle of family friends, it has been like this for a while. And there was always also that this person would always say, I am disappointed in you, and such things. And this would always trigger feelings of guilt in him or her. This, oh my God, if we are now in the family area, and I have had this attachment for a long time, and that was also what stood between you, you are still a very important part of your loved one's life. In the heart, completely. Even if they pushed it away for a long time, didn't show it to you. But you were never gone. There is still something there. And this person is completely shown, meaning the external influence. It is completely shown here that it does not do them any good at all. I have him in the heaviness. There is nothing, even the small things I might have been able to solve, problems or something, that he managed to handle. Nothing works anymore. It's like a bush, a wall. There always comes this blockade. Even in terms of thinking, I always like to say, I have these thought interruptions here. You were always solution-oriented in your connection, whether you were in a relationship or in a getting to know each other phase. And you always gave it your all. You were there. You showed this lightness, this warmth, this togetherness to your loved one. And that is what he now realizes is no longer there. This other person, as I said, whether it's a relationship, friendship, or family, is the area where he says, I can't do it anymore. He realizes that he is completely absorbed in his thoughts, in the decision, and the decision is definitely that the whole thing will end. He can't do it here anymore. He just doesn't know exactly how to do it. So I also say separation. No matter how and what, the separation could mean that the person separates from a loved one, or rather from her, because he feels he knows it no longer fits. And a little bit, I also have the impression as if he is challenging a bit right now. Because his issue is that he wants to look good. As if to say, wow, I gave you everything. I am innocent here, however. Could it also be professionally that there are some influences involved with your loved one? Or it could also be a hobby. But simply, I see that he has done everything, but he provokes. So he really challenges it here. The other person, I'll deliberately call them the other person now, it could be a relationship, friendship, or family. That the other person simply says, wow, no, ends the whole thing. I have to say he's a bit of a rascal in that area, because he really has this way of, as I said, appearing in a good light and often being able to act a bit innocent. Because with him, I already see the issue, even if he might show it outwardly. Towards you, he might always have shown his self-confidence. And this, yes, no, everything is under control and it's fine. But you notice there was something still lurking inside. That's not true at all. Maybe like that. There was always something there. Yes. And that was really, he showed something different outwardly, than what's really going on inside him. He still shows that now, and that's regarding the feelings towards you. We're really talking about love here, where he was always uncertain the whole time he had the connection with you. And perhaps he always kept it a secret, what he really feels, because he couldn't really identify it himself. He didn't really know it either. He was afraid of it. And it always has to do with his environment. So if we're talking about the family area now, the other person, whether it be, is he in this relationship with the other person, or did she come in as a temporary distraction? That it ended between you two? And shortly after, this other person came along, of whom you might not even officially know anything. And there is it wrong? It is a learning process, a very intense learning process. Because we really have here, I would say, very extreme, I'm really going to use the word now, extreme situations, discussions, confrontations, and truly also the loss in the financial area. And above all, how he is himself, because I see him here as completely remote controlled, lying there like a puppet. Restlessness, nervousness is not him. This whole inability to make decisions, maybe that was always a bit there, but he had more balance also because of you. And now he is starting to feel that something is going terribly wrong here, especially what I also find fantastic here is that he misses you. Your personality, your way, your warmth, that's what he didn't really want to see or allow all this time. To answer the question of whether the relationship will end, I can tell you here, a definite yes. He's playing with it. He knows the separation must happen. He has to detach himself from what was, again, it fits fantastically with death. We have it here again. It is an absolute burden for your loved one. But he wants to sneak out a bit here and provokes the other person or persons so much so that he is no longer accessible, no longer really willing to talk. What was different before, we have completely in transition that he practically provokes a break here. So things are really getting serious here. These are real intense confrontations. And also the separation, the farewell. It will be very abrupt here, very suddenly unexpected. What does unexpected mean? He expects it, yes, but it's like out of nowhere, bam. It could be a message. Just that it happens over, the phone rings, by phone, that it's a conversation or that it's a WhatsApp. So a message through a messenger. Of course, it can also be in person, but personally, I rather see here that your loved one is taking the whole big step. And he would prefer that the whole thing just works over the phone, right? Proceeds. With your loved one, we have these feelings of happiness directed towards you. And there really is something there. And I have the nighttime hours with your loved one where he really gets back into this feeling. Something is happening, something is opening up. And in his heart, there is this opening again, that the access is coming back, that it was completely closed here. Right. And he knows he let himself be deceived, he let himself be played with, and it went on for quite some time in a familial, friendly way. It could also be that this is a transitional phase, but this person who intervened here was very important. This person is a very strong learning process for your loved one, so that he can break out of this behavioral pattern, out of the old behavioral patterns. Because the contact with you was for a specific reason, that you get to know each other or meet again. And that is the path of a loved one. Now it goes, this conclusion of the whole thing from his situation, especially to come back to feeling now. On the heart level, I have him completely in his head. Here they lie. This thinking, and always the head and the logical, and above all always, how he is seen outside, avoiding problems and discussions. Well, he is doing that here too. But as I said, he has a tactic that he applies. Okay, it's his tactic regarding the other person, but completely fine. For me, it's about the question of whether the whole thing will end here. I definitely see the separation. And fantastic. As I said, the connection to you, this warmth of heart and what you have given, your voice, your warmth, your laughter. And you don't make a mountain out of a molehill. You have solutions for every problem. And you turn a problem into a minor issue. If something is wrong and it doesn't work, for example, the other person here, hey, you, it must, and I want, and there, and back and forth. So this, you can tell this other person, you can't please them. You can't really satisfy your loved one. He or she completely bends themselves here, has bent themselves the whole time. But with you, it's like this, and that's what he notices. If something doesn't work out, you say, oh, no problem at all, then we'll just do it differently. Or on another day. So it's not that bad. And because if that doesn't work either, you make the best out of it again. And he feels that now, and he is coming to this realization, to this feeling now. And he now has this on the level of consciousness, if not completely yet, but we are really on a fantastic path, level of consciousness. How wonderful you are and how much you mean to him. And what a wonderful enrichment you are for his life. So, what do we have here? Again, major arcana. I find it fantastic. We have very powerful cards here, the major arcana. We have the moon and we also have the sun. So, with the moon, there is what he is suppressing now, what he has been suppressing all along. These are his true feelings, especially to completely oppose letting everything happen to him. And his fears are also being shown, fears, that he is doing something wrong, that he is being perceived wrongly by others. Well, we still have the area where he wants to look good. As I said, he challenges it. His tactic provokes, he really provokes that, the separation here, that he is being left. This is provocative because he simply needs it. This is still a piece of the theme from his old self. What is still to come here? And there is really this clarity. He already has the clarity. And if he's getting more and more into it, because the beginning, the start is already there, the process of separation is already fully underway. And now we have the sun as well. Wonderful. For him, this is coming. Yes, we can now symbolically call it the sun, this enlightenment that is also being shown. that it really has been wrong all along, especially that he hasn't seen himself at all. He has been walking around like in a haze, in a fog all the time, not seeing anything anymore, and just always letting himself be led like a puppet over and over again, just as the other person wanted. But with your loved one, what I find so beautiful is that he is now coming completely into confidence. And the confidence, what he truly wants, or what his heart desires, and what he no longer wants. And there you are completely in this reading. In multiple forms, absolutely the sun for him. This warmth, which I mentioned earlier, is showing itself here again. And now he is coming into feeling, into allowing, even though he hasn't allowed it all this time. And this confusion is still here, but he is simply tired, exhausted from what he actually, this realization, has allowed to be done to him. But he comes out here to end the whole thing because he wants to move away from the dark side. And now he is completely moving to the sunny side. He has embarked on this path. This is his journey. And you are completely in this area of the sunny side. Dear ones, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching and wish you a wonderful, beautiful day. Goodbye.